So, Dr. Sanjana, a lot of people say toxin makes the face stiff and expressionless. Like you can't smile or emote naturally anymore. What do you say to that?
That's one of the biggest myths around Botox. Botox doesn't freeze the face, it only relaxes specific overactive muscles. When done correctly, you still have expressions, just softer and more natural. The stiff or the plastic look that you're talking about usually happens with overdosing or poor injection technique, and also because the person getting injected wants it that way and not because of the toxin itself. So, a well done toxin treatment should make people say, "You look fresh," not "What did you do to your face?"
So, it's less about the treatment and more about how and how much it's done.
Exactly. Toxin is a very, very precise tool. It's not just a one size fits all solution.
So, Dr. Sanjana, hair fall is one of the most common concerns people come in with. From a dermatologist's point of view, what are the most overlooked cause of hair fall?
I can say this is definitely nutrition deficiencies, hormonal imbalances, chronic stress, and poor scalp health also play a role. So many people only focus on the external hair care while ignoring the internal triggers like iron deficiency, thyroid issues, protein intake, or even post illness hair loss. So, from your side, when someone complains of hair fall, what's the first thing that you assess nutritionally?
Of course, protein deficiency, iron status, vitamin D, B12, and overall calorie intake. Undereating is a huge but silent cause of hair shedding, especially in women who are dieting aggressively. There's a lot of fear around medical hair treatments. Are treatments like serum, PRP, or medications actually safe?
So, when prescribed correctly and tailored to the individual, yes, the treatments like minoxidil, PRP, or the oral medications are all evidence based. The key is proper diagnosis by a qualified dermatologist because hair loss treatment is again not a one size fits all. So, Madhu, people often rely on supplements for hair growth. Can supplements alone fix the hair fall?
Oh, people ask me all the time about this. Supplements help only if there is a deficiency. Without correcting diet, absorption, and lifestyle, supplements can temporarily support, not a solution. Food quality and consistency matter more. So, Dr. Sanjana, what's your take on oiling, DIY mask, and traditional remedies for hair health?
So, maybe I shouldn't say this, but since we're being uncanny out here, this is all just rubbish. So, they can only support scalp health and reduce dryness, but they don't treat the root cause of the hair loss. So, oiling, of course, improves just comfort and circulation, but it won't reverse any genetic or hormonal hair fall on its own. I'm really interested in this next answer. So, stress is always blamed for hair fall. How big a role does it actually play nutritionally?
So, Dr. Sanjana, it's a major one everybody are going through these days. Stress increases nutrient depletion, disrupts digestion, and affects hormone balance. Even with a good diet, chronic stress can block hair recovery. So, Dr. Sanjana, when should someone stop home remedies and actually consult a dermatologist for hair loss?
So the patient needs to be really smart and quick about this action. So if hair fall lasts more than for 3 months and comes with thinning of hair, patchy loss here and there, and scalp symptoms like severe itching or pain, it's time to seek a medical evaluation. Early intervention, of course, gives better results.
So, hair health isn't just about products or procedures.
Exactly. The best results come when nutritional, lifestyle, and dermatology treatments all work together. This we say again and again.
Dr. Sanjana, being Indian, most of us have grown hearing this at home Any skin problem? Apply coconut oil. From dry skin to hair fall to even acne, our elders swear by it. As a dermatologist, what do you have to say about this advice?
I say this is completely wrong and it's not a solution for everything either. Coconut oil is, of course, a great natural moisturizer, especially for very dry skin and hair. It has some antimicrobial properties and works well for body skin, a small, short scalp massage, and to, of course, repair the skin barrier. However, for acne prone or oily facial skin, it can just clog the pores and worsen the breakouts. So please, coconut oil is a good product when used in the right place and for the right skin type. It's definitely not a universal remedy.
So basically, Dadi was right, but with conditions.
Exactly. Tradition plus science is the best combination. So, this one's going to be great fun. Okay, Madhu? So, tell me your take on these things.
Yes, of course.
Detox drinks for clear skin.
Just marketing.
Lemon water fixes acne?
No. Natural products always safer.
Nah, misleading.
Glass skin is realistic for everyone.
Absolutely unrealistic.
Charcoal cleansers remove toxins.
Exaggerated to death.
Biotin stops hair fall instantly.
Overrated. Drinking more water cures dry skin?
Partial.
Can vegan diets guarantee glowing skin?
It depends. Sunscreen blocks vitamin D completely.
False.
Home remedies beat dermatology treatments.
No. So does chocolate cause acne?
Contextual.
Fried food ruins skin overnight?
Unlikely.
Fruit sugars are harmless for skin?
In moderation.
Gluten is bad for everyone's skin?
No.
Skipping dinner improves skin?
Counterproductive. Anti-aging creams erase wrinkles.
Optimistic but no.
Toxin prevents aging forever.
No, just temporarily.
Fillers stretch skin permanently.
Huge myth.
Earlier treatment is equal to better aging.
Definitely strategic approach.
So the most important one I'm going to ask you, expensive treatments guarantees results.
Nope.
So Dr. Sanjana, Haldi fixes all skin issues.
Selective. Does ghee give glowing skin?
Imbalanced.
Multani mitti, does it suit everyone?
No. What do you have to say about that?
Definitely no. Herbal equals harmless?
It's risky. So Dr. Sanjana, turns out most skin secrets need context.
And less hype.
Definitely. More, if you're listening to this while skipping meals, drinking jeera water and scrubbing your face like it owes you money,
This is your sign to stop.
good skin isn't built on haldi, lemon water and fear of food.
And it definitely can't be fixed overnight like a shadi prep.
Skin is more like a long Indian marriage.
You ignore it, it rebels.
You care for it consistently, it behaves.
So relax, hydrate.
And stay with us.
So, as we wrap up today's conversation, one thing becomes very clear: skin health isn't built in isolation. It's not just about the products you apply or the treatments you choose. It's about how your body is nourished, how well you rest, and how you manage stress. And of course, how consistently you do this to take care of yourself, inside and out. When nutrition and dermatology work together, the focus shifts from quick fixes to a long term skin health, from reacting to problems to truly understanding them. We hope today's discussion helped you see your skin a little differently, not as something that you constantly correct, but as something to listen to. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you in the next episode.